Hello arcade gamers and welcome back to Biggie D's Arcade. Tonight we're doing Sunday chill and chat like we do every Sunday evening with the home arcade community, talking home arcade news and discussions. Hope everyone's having a great night tonight. Looks like we had a few people roll into the chat early today, putting in their messages early right when it was posted. Wish I Was a Rock Star was the first one in the chat saying, hey Biggie, excited for the show. Super disappointed in Iconic Arcade delay as I have both the Wonderland Pinball paid for and the Iconic Arcade. Pretty frustrating to be honest. So the Wonderland Pinball, I don't think it's that far off. You know, I think they're going to be a little late. I think they'd wanted to be by the end of the year, but I think it's still going to hit in December or January is when they'll ship. So not too bad. Now for the Iconic Arcade, that's another story. We've been waiting a long time for that one. I think people thought they were going to get those last summer. So quite a bit of delay, I think, for Iconic Arcade. Not so much for Wonderland, just a little, you know, delay here, like a month or so past what we thought they would be shipping those. So not too bad, but they're both coming. I think the Wonderland Pinball is going to look really good. I think people are going to be happy with that. I got hands-on with that back at Pinball Expo in October, and they've just had more time to improve it. So I expect very good things for the Wonderland Pinball, especially at that price point. I don't think you can really complain at less than $1,000 for what you're getting. Now for the Iconic Arcade, might as well just get right into it right now. There has been a delay with the Iconic Arcade. John D had announced that this week, that it's going to be delayed till January. He has thrown in a couple of incentives. They're going to drop it down to $549, saving you about $150. And then they're throwing in 5 more Capcom licensed games, bringing the total games list to 20. So I would say it's not too bad. And if they're using that time for improvements to make it better, they just felt like it wasn't ready for, you know, big time for the show, then I would say holding it back a little bit longer is not a bad thing, especially if it's going to drastically improve areas of the cabinet. You know, take the extra time. Also, they've been able to refund anyone, I think, who's wanted their money back. So no pressure on people. You know, if you guys want to wait, you can wait. If you don't have to. But I can understand the frustrations for Wish I Was a Rock Star. You know, you put the money down, you're hoping and you're waiting for it, and then it doesn't come. They delay it. That can get frustrating. So I definitely understand that. B Me says, Biggie D and Turtle Power. We're going to be talking about the TMNT Pinball tonight, and they're finally doing the $200 off, so you can get it for $9.99 now. That started this week for Black Friday. We'll see if that ends up staying the price going forward. It sounds like it may. In fact, this TMNT Pinball, it doesn't sound like it's been selling very well. So a lot of stock still in the store. That means that prices could potentially drop. You know, we could get them down to $7.99, $6.99 possibly. Might be worth holding out, and being that it didn't sell out during the Black Friday. Steps Turbo's here saying, hello, let's rock. Let's get going. Good to see Steps in the chat on this Sunday evening. Retro Legends Arcade Show, also Papa Brad's Gaming as well. This is his Friday live stream that he does each week saying, hello, gamers. He's also a member of the channel, so he's going to be using all those emojis that you get access to with that 99-cent per month membership. So just less than $1 and you can join. Step says, did you get the Turtles at Games pinball table, Biggie D? No, I didn't. I actually passed. If an incredible deal comes around, one I just cannot pass up on, like I said, if these prices keep dropping, it's going to become like where you're going to have to get one. But right now, I'm not seeing a need to go out and run out and spend $1,000 right now. The X Arcade really does everything that I needed to do pinball-wise, well, virtual pinball. And don't really see a need to bring in another virtual pinball setup right now at that price. Also, it's just the room. I'm very limited on the amount of room that I have to work with. So I have to make, very critical, important decisions on which ones I get. And, at this point, I have so many home arcades, I may have to get rid of some in order to bring in another. So it's a little difficult, not like it was at the start where you could just buy up everything you wanted. Mike Hawker is saying, hi, everyone. Good to see Mike in the chat. Devastator Omega is here as well saying, evening all. Good to see you, Devastator. Glad you made it. And the Be Me is saying, patience seems to be correct call for the TMNT table. Yes, I think it's good news. Not good news for At Games because, obviously they put a lot into this and it's a big license. We want them to do well. But from a consumer perspective of us as customers, seeing that they did not sell very well over the Black Friday, even at $9.99, is a good sign for us because that means Sam's going to drop those prices. We've seen it before with the Legends HD pinball they had before it. Some people got those for as low as like $250, $300 when it was all said and done. So that could happen again. But let's take a look first. I think the big news really, since last time we had met on Sunday, the biggest news I think is going to be this iconic arcade. So I just briefly had touched on it, but let's kind of look at some more details on that. Let me get that pulled up. So Iconic Arcade, the Street Fighter XT or the Extreme has been delayed till January 2026, but they're going to lower the price. So originally it was targeted for Q4 of 2025, and John D has announced that it's going to be delayed till January of 2026, saving you $150 in the process, bringing it down to $549. Also upgrading the games list, adding 5 additional Capcom games, bringing the total games list to 20. If you were to click here on this link, it is going to take you to the YouTube page. Well, of course, we're going to get an ad because the Arcade Insiders, it looks like, is now monetized already. I don't know how they're doing that with only 327 subscribers, but we're getting ads, so we're not going to watch that video. But basically, it's him in front of his 2 machines, the World Warrior and the Street Fighter Alpha 2, delivering this message to the audience. And I think a lot of the people were a little bit sad because it was very sad the way he delivered this news and the way he presented it. It just wasn't like a happy, energetic message. And if you guys want to go watch it, you can go to At Home Arcades there and take a look and check out the full video. But really, you're not missing much. It's been delayed until January. You get an extra $150 off. If you want to cancel, you can cancel. And then you're also going to get the 5 additional Capcom games, which are unannounced. We don't know what those extra 5 games are quite yet. Kickabod Crane is here saying, sup, Biggie D and homies. Good to see you. Glad you made it. And Mikey is here as well saying, bribing you to keep your pre-order with your own money. Nice of John D to offer a discount. I think if people are all in and they're willing to wait, and at this point they've waited this long, and they don't mind waiting a little longer, getting $150 off is, I think, a pretty sweet deal. All right, so that is going to be the news for John D. we're going to now get into what has happened since I've seen you guys last. So let's take a look at that. So we last met, we were looking over the At Games metrics, seeing how they've improved. Looks like they did put out some additional metrics that I found out on Facebook today. So let me get that pulled up. We'll just take a quick look at that, see if we've seen anything change on there or if it's the same old, same old. So it looks like an average response time for At Games for the week of 11/24 to 11/28 was 1 day, 20 hours for average first response. Longest first response time, 2 days. Average resolution time, 1 week. So is this any different than what we saw last week? It looks identical, doesn't it? It looks like the average resolution time went down, maybe just a little bit. But overall, about the same metrics as before. And again, with these types of metrics, they can, you know, only show the good ones, right? If there's stuff that they're finding that's negative, I doubt they're going to show that or share that with us. So we're probably only seeing the good side. Very little of like, you know, how many, you know, customers had issues that they were unable to solve or unable to resolve. I'd be interested to see those kind of statistics. Also, you know, how many people were completely down, like unable to play their machine, and for how long on average. You know, I think those would be some good numbers to look at. But I think if they're going to show At Games in a negative light and they're not going to do anything positive, then they're probably not going to share that kind of information with us. So the next bit of news was the Alice Adventures in Wonderland. This has been a long anticipated table that we have been waiting for now for some time. I've been hearing about Alice in Wonderland Walkabout mini golf course for a couple of months now. So a lot of times when you jump into like Walkabout Wednesdays with us, or you just play this game, a lot of times we'll sit around and talk about, you know, what courses we like, which ones are our favorites, and the ones that are coming, like the ones that are leaked or there's been news that there was a new one coming. And we've known about Alice in Wonderland for a couple of months now. So we don't have much outside of the official announcement now and the date that it will release from Walkabout. But they did let us know that it is going to release on December 4th. And hopefully we'll get a video, I would imagine tomorrow or Tuesday, showing the gameplay and like the world and what it's going to look like and what we can expect from it. But I think this is what's really good about the Walkabout mini golf is it's always constantly adding new courses. Seems like every month we get something new, and it's always interesting to find out what course we're going to get, and also playing that new course with everyone as well. Now, I've been doing the Walkabout Wednesdays every week. Last week we had a pretty good turnout. We had 2 others with me, so we had a total of 3. This Wednesday it was just me, which is fine. I had a good time. Actually, when you play by yourself, one good thing about Walkabout is you can really lock in and focus in on your shots more. You're not getting any distractions. You're not having to wait on anyone, and you can just shoot through and get into a groove. And I was able to get a -4 on the Arizona Modern last Wednesday. But there's a lot of really good deals on VR headsets right now. So like if you guys are wanting to get a VR headset and maybe potentially get into the Walkabout Golf, now's a good time to do it. I think the MetaQuest 3S I saw had a deal on it for Black Friday. I haven't paid as close attention to them this year as I did last year because I was, you know, I was buying them last year. This year I already owned the headsets, so I wasn't really shopping them. But it looks like there's some good deals out there. It looks like you can get a MetaQuest 3S for $249 at Walmart today. So that's $50 off on the 128 gigabyte model. Not sure about like Target and places like that. I know Target normally does like a $50 gift card with theirs, things like that. So let's see. They got the MetaQuest 3S for $329. This must be the 256 gigabyte model. Let's see. Yeah, so 256 for $329. It's a decent deal. 3 months of MetaQuest Plus, and you're still getting Arkham Shadow. So surprising to see that they're still throwing in the Batman from last Black Friday. I thought they were going to be throwing in the new Deadpool game this year, since that was a MetaQuest developed game. I thought Deadpool would be the marquee title that they would throw in with these bundles this year. That didn't seem to happen. So I don't know, what happened with that Deadpool VR game. Was it any good? If you guys have played it out in the chat, you'll have to let me know. Looks like the reviews are pretty decent on it. I've caught a little bit of content on it this week. And like I told you guys last week, I just don't know if I'm super hyped for this new Deadpool VR game, just because of the animation style that they went with. It doesn't really draw me in as much as like the Batman did. Like the Batman's got kind of more of like a dark theme to it. It's not realistic looking, but it looks a lot more realistic than like this Deadpool does. But it may be a good game. Like it looks like they've done a lot with it as far as like the energy of Deadpool, like his comedic his comedy in the game. Also just like the gore and the guns and the battles and everything you're going to be doing in the game. Maybe they can make all that great and make that so much fun that you forget about the graphics. It just seemed like the graphics to me were not that impressive. I thought like Batman, which I played this time last year for the first time, that was actually, Batman was the very first VR game that I had ever played. But Batman really drew me in like instantly as soon as I started playing it. It just had like a really like dark atmosphere to it, and you felt like you were in Gotham, and the characters you were meeting were, had like their voiceovers were really good, really drew you into the story of the game. And everything that I've seen with the Deadpool VR so far in the trailers, it just hasn't, made me want to like run out and buy this game and play it. I'm sure eventually I'll get it. There'll probably be a deal on this where it'll be, $30, $25, and I may pick it up at that time and play it. And it looks like the reviews are decent, like they're good reviews, but I haven't heard like a huge buzz around this game like you normally do with a new title like this, especially one that was made by MetaQuest, that should be, like, for instance, bundled with the Black Friday headsets that are being promoted right now. So I don't know what's going on with this game. Maybe it needs some updates. Maybe it needs some improvements before, it really catches on. But like just looking at these reviews, 4.6 out of 5 on the Meta store. Metacritic has a 78%. So that all looks good. Maybe it's the price. It's an expensive VR game at $50. That's one thing about VR games is they're not as expensive as console games. They're not typically as long or as involved or take as much development to make these games. So they're less expensive. And that may be hurting it, that it is $50. People don't want to run out and spend that much money on a VR game. Is that the only thing that I can think of right off of hand as to why it's not getting bundled or why there hasn't been a huge, amount of buzz around that game yet. But bottom line, VR headsets are really cool. I was playing my MetaQuest headset today. Actually, in fact, I was playing the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge VR game. And I've got the Last Call DLC. I've already beaten the game, but then I got the DLC for it called The Last Call. And I was playing that today, and it's a ton of fun. The worlds look really like Star Wars. Like if you went to Disney World and you walk through the Star Wars park, the game looks just like that. And you have like the phaser guns or whatever they're called in Star Wars, and you're just shooting the enemies and, completing missions and stuff. They say later in the game you unlock like Jedi powers, so you can like use the Force and you can have like a lightsaber and all that. I haven't gotten that far to unlock all that yet. Mikey says, with your money, nice a new map for mini golf. Yes, I'm really excited about the new Wonderland course. I've also got like the Christmas course from last year. So I think what we'll probably do is for Walkabout Wednesdays, because Walkabout Wednesdays is on the 3rd, and the game won't drop till the 4th. So what I'm thinking is we might play the Christmas course this upcoming Wednesday, and to get ready for Christmas, and then we'll play the new Wonderland the following week. But looking forward to that, and I'll definitely be picking up that course day one. MetaQuest 3S, the lowest that Mikey has seen is $186. Yes, the deals are out there on these headsets, guys. Unfortunately, I've been slacking, and I haven't been giving you guys all the deals like I did last year. Like, I was on top of these headsets last year. But let me see if I can find this one that Mikey is talking about here. Because 186, that's a really good deal. All right, okay, here, I found it. Okay. Thanks for looking out. So 128 MetaQuest 3S plus 3 months of MetaQuest Plus, $165. So it looks like this is a deal directly through Meta. Interesting. You have to log into your account, but there's no promo code or anything. It looks like this is just the prices. It looks like you can get a 256 for $269. You can get a 512 for $439. So these are good deals. Yeah, $249 right there. How are you getting it for $164? Okay, so you're going to save $85 automatically applied at checkout. So when you add this to your cart, it should bring that price down should be able to get this for $165. That's crazy. So no reason why anyone should wait now on getting into VR. It's just so inexpensive at this point. I mean, $150, that's like a couple of console games, and you've got the full headset. And you also got the 3 months of the MetaQuest Plus, so you can play all the VR games, or a lot of them, before buying them. Mikey says, yeah, these are older units probably. And he said he thought Deadpool as well. He heard it was meh, so not that great. Papa Brad's Gaming says Batman might be a better game. Batman's fun. I've been haven't beaten it. I've been slowly just kind of enjoying it and taking it in. Every once in a while, I'll pick it up and play it for a little while. And every time I do, it's a joy to play. That Batman is one that I'm not running through it to beat it immediately. I'm just every once in a while I'll jump into it, play it for an hour, and I just really have a good time every time I do. Papa Brad's Gaming says he just bought Soul Calibur 2 for the PS2 for $8, and it's incredible. Making your PS2 collection larger, slowly picking up more and more titles, and $8, that's a killer deal. And that's a great game. Wingo Edgy is here saying, hey, all, good to see you, Wingo. And Devastator Omega says offloading inventory as new versions are about to come out. Yes, there is a lot of, I guess, buzz and like people talk and chatter about the new MetaQuest headset, and they're saying that the Quest 4 will be announced probably here in the next couple of months. So I would say sometime here at the start of the new year, expect a MetaQuest 4 headset to get announced. And this will probably be to compete with that new Steam VR headset that's coming early next year as well. But yeah, so VR is really cool. Been playing a ton of it. I've also been playing a ton of it on the PlayStation as well. Playing the Behemoth, like the physical copy of that game I've got, and really fun game. I've also been playing on there the Cave Craze or Cave Crave, which is where you're like climbing and you're crawling through caves, and it's a ton of fun. And then I was looking at maybe picking up the Alien VR game, because I noticed the Alien VR game went down to $13.99. So they've got some good deals right now on the PSVR 2 games for Black Friday. So let's just take a look at those real quick. And I'll just kind of tell you which ones I've enjoyed so far and which ones I've got my eye on. So I played the Resident Evil 4 VR, really fun, great game, as well as the Resident Evil Village. I was looking at the Alien Rogue Incursion at $14, but I've decided I'm going to pass on that game. I don't know yet when I'll pick that up. You know, I may end up getting it for like $10 or something. I may pull the trigger then. Not sure why. I just have so many VR games that I've neglected that I haven't finished, that if I keep adding to my library, I'm never going to finish these other ones. So I'm just going to wait on that one. Metro Awakening VR is really good. I beat that. Awesome game. Played it all the way through. Really good memories of that game. Had my eye on the Arizona Sunshine. Looks like it's only $11.99. The Walking Dead Satan's Sinners. I beat that VR game. Played it all the way through. Amazing VR game. And then I even got the DLC for that, which isn't quite as good as the full game, but it's fun. Keeps it going. The Pro Era 2 I haven't actually played yet. Maybe should give that one a shot. The Pavlov, I picked that game up. That's a good game. And, the Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. I have that on PSVR 2, but I've only played it for about probably 30 minutes. It's kind of a freaky game when you get into the Five Nights at Freddy's in VR. But so was Behemoth. Behemoth was kind of freaky at first because you're like stabbing people and you're fighting, and it's just so realistic. But I've kind of, like with Behemoth, I've played a little and a little more and a little more, and I've gotten accustomed to it to where it's now not even a big deal. So I think with the Five Nights at Freddy's, even with the jump scares and everything that game will have, I'll get more and more accustomed to it, and I'll play that one all the way through eventually. This was one that I was interested in getting when it came out, was the Midnight Walk, but never did. But I can't wait to play that when the time comes. But like I said, I'm not going to load up on a bunch of games right now because I still got a bunch I got to finish. Red Matter 2, I played it all the way through. Amazing game. Played Red Matter 2 on the MetaQuest. Really, the PSVR 2 probably should have been the way that I should have played it, because that you have the power of the PlayStation and the graphics do look much better on the PSVR 2. Seventh Guest, I've got on the MetaQuest. Awesome game. I was actually thinking about jumping into the Seventh Guest today and playing some more of those puzzles, but I ended up not really playing it today because I was playing that Star Wars, but I'll eventually get back to it. Oh, and then the Stranger Things VR. I've always wanted to play this, but I never have yet. And talking about Stranger Things is really cool. I'm watching the Stranger Things season 5 right now. Really awesome show. Probably one of my favorite TV shows that I have ever watched or gotten into. It's just like the music and the theme and like the characters. You're so like into their stories and what's going on in this show, and everything's built up to this, 5th season. And I was a little bit worried because, when going into big shows like this that have gone on for years, that have been highly successful, it's always hard to wrap it up, right? To bring it all to a close, to an ending. And a lot of people get upset with like the final seasons and shows because they just don't feel like they do it justice or that it plays out the way they thought it would. Well, this season has not at all been a disappointment. It's a ton of fun. I'm only 2 episodes in, but just the music and the pace of the show and the character development, everything is there in season 5 to make you just really enjoy it and just really get engrossed in the story and this city and these kids and this town. And I'm just really so happy that season 5 is back, and I'm watching it. And it's been a long time. It's been several years since I've watched season 4, and it feels like we've waited forever for this 5th season to get filmed and made and edited and put out. And it's finally out, and it's just so much fun to take in and watch each episode. So hopefully you guys are catching season 5 of Stranger Things, but it's really good, guys. And it also makes me want to jump into this, talking about the Stranger Things VR game. I have not played this yet. So lots of VR deals to be had out there, more than I can play. You know, there's more deals than I have time to play right now, which is a good thing. So in MetaQuest, was playing it today, and I was looking at the store, and I was thinking, you know, maybe I should get a new VR game for the MetaQuest. But what I've realized is, like, when I first picked up the Quest, I picked up all the games that I'd wanted for it. And now, like, I look at the store and there's not really anything that I need to have. And it doesn't seem like the VR library has really expanded out much more than what it was this time last year. There's not like a ton of VR games that weren't out this time last year. So there wasn't anything that I could find that I just had to have, you know, this weekend. But we'll take a quick look at it together. The Resident Evil 4, I don't know if I'd go back and play this version now that the new one's out, but it's available for the Quest. So let's see, where are the deals at? Come on. Oh, here they are, deals. So these are your top Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals right now for the MetaQuest. That Arizona Sunshine remake, definitely pick that. Either 1 or 2 are good games. I'm glad to see this Cave Craze is getting some recognition. They're the 8th top selling game right now, because this is really kind of part of the reason that I got into caving. You know, I've already been to a couple of caves, and I'm actually going to be joining a grotto here in Phoenix. Next Saturday, I'm going to meet with them for the first time. And it's all kind of part of, you know, this game too, and being able to play, you know, in VR and experiencing that, you know, maybe I really do, you know, want to get into caving after playing this game. So if you guys like have never been introduced to caving or like what it's like, this game gives you a really good sense of what it would be like if you were actually doing it. And I've had a lot of fun playing with it. It's a little glitchy. Like, there's still some things that they need to fix on it, like some bugs they need to fix with an update. But overall, what they've achieved with this game is awesome. And it's not a high budget game. It's like a $10-15 game. It was $10 on PSVR 2. It looks like it's $15 here on MetaQuest. But it looks like they're doing a deal right now on it. Or maybe that has ended, but check tomorrow, because Cyber Monday's tomorrow. Here it says right here, use this code BFCM25 at checkout to get 40% off these titles through December 2nd. So like you could get 40% off that Cave Craze right now with that code. So that's a really good deal. Now, I've been hearing a lot of good things about the Golf Plus. Like, a lot of people trying to move away from the Walkabout Mini Golf to maybe into this Golf Plus, which now has mini golf as well. I haven't yet bought the game yet or tried out Golf Plus, but I've been hearing good things about it. I tried to play the Assassin's Creed Nexus game last year around this time. It was a little bit too much for me, a little too bright, and it was giving me a little bit of motion sickness. So I got my refund on that. So I was playing that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge today, and it made me think I never played these Vader Immortal games. So I need to pick those up, play those. So there's tons of stuff, guys, as you can see, that's really good. A lot of like AAA good licenses available in VR now. Go check this stuff out. It's a ton of fun. You know, there's all kinds of gaming you can do, right? You can do the handheld, you can do the console, you can do arcade gaming, you could do pinball. But now it's like we have VR, and that's like a totally different way of gaming and gives you like a completely different experience. And I love that, like on Sunday, like today, rather than sit in front of my TV playing console or playing on my handheld, that I can jump into VR and do something totally different, you know, for a change of pace. And it's a lot of fun. Step says, Biggie, you need to play Resident Evil 4 in VR. You haven't lived till you've chased the chainsaw guy in VR. I played a little bit of the Resident Evil 4 in VR, but I got to get back into it. I got to finish it. And this is the time of year that I play a lot of VR too, because it's not that hot out. It's kind of cool, and it's comfortable, you know, in my living room where I can move around and sweat a little, and not be unbearable with the headset on. So I'm going to get on a lot of VR gaming over these next few months. Mikey says we need a really good AAA VR game. That's what I was thinking. We need some really good VR games. And I think early next year we're going to get that with that Steam VR headset. I think we're finally going to get the new Half-Life, and maybe they'll do like a Half-Life Alyx, which is their VR Half-Life. Maybe they'll do a sequel to that game early next year to kind of jumpstart that new VR headset and get people more into VR gaming. I Kickabod Crane says, I love Stranger Things, and this season is great. Yes, it is. It's awesome. I love the music. I love the pace of the show. Feels like they're just really nailing it. I hope it stays that way the rest of the season. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but I'm already hooked, and I'm really happy with what they're doing. Bringing all the characters back, picking back up where they left off. It feels like it's really going to finish the way it should. Devastator says, I wonder if sales numbers overall will be released as people felt like they spent less this year. I definitely think people have been like being more tight with their money this year than as opposed to last year. There's just a lot of uncertainty, you know, like with these tariffs and with, you know, just all the things going on in the world. You know, I think people are just going to be a little more tight this year. They're going to be saving their money more. That tends to happen when there's uncertainty in markets and things like that. And I've been seeing that this year. You know, this Christmas just feels a little different. Doesn't feel like we're like ultra consuming things like we do normally on Black Friday. I bought a ton of stuff this Black Friday, but what was different about this Black Friday than previous ones is I bought more things that I needed than things that I wanted. Like normally on Black Friday, I buy a bunch of like electronics and games and, you know, movies, you know, game systems, arcade stuff, all that. This year I did very little of that. I was actually very choosy on what I picked as far as like video games and stuff like that this year. But what I did buy a lot of were things that I needed, you know, clothes and, you know, things for the apartment, cleaning stuff, you know, things you have to have. Were what I was really heavily shopping this year in order to try to save money because I knew I needed it. But I did buy a lot on Friday and Saturday, mostly through Amazon and Walmart. Mikey says, not much talk about the new Avatar movie coming out in December. Yeah, no, not much at all. The Fire and Ash. I never even saw the last one, The Way of Water. I did really enjoy the first Avatar, but I just haven't gotten into these sequels. And it doesn't seem like people are really, you know, wanting to see it or get out to the theater to see this one. So maybe we're seeing the end of these Avatar movies. I heard something about James Cameron maybe not finishing out the last 2 and just being done with it at this point. Mikey Yoon says, I don't know why anyone would go caving, LOL. That looks really claustrophobic. Yeah, it is. It's something you got to be prepared for. That's for sure. I went on a big hike on Thursday, and my friend wanted to go Saturday to this cave, but we both had stuff we had to do on Saturday morning to get done. And by the time it was like 10:30, I was like, no, let's not go. Let's just go next weekend, because you really have to like mentally prepare for that kind of stuff. You know, like you have to be ready, and you have to have all your gear, and you have to like I said, be mentally prepared for that kind of stuff, because you're going into a very hostile environment where you really have to watch your every step and what you're doing. You can't just, you know, jump in there and start doing it. Kickabod Crane says, I cave every time my son asks for money, and that's enough for me. Sales this Black Friday sucked, is what Mikey said. So let's look at some Black Friday deals. I unfortunately did not make a video this year. I could have, but I didn't do it. But I've been keeping up on a lot of stuff that I wanted to share tonight. First was this At Games Legends Ultimate home arcade I came across, which this was the Legends Ultimate that I have. Maybe many of you out there have as well. And it was $348. You know, if you were to go buy this right now, like without this deal, I think it's $550. Let's take a look. Legends Ultimate, I think is $550. So yeah, $550 right now. And that's on sale. Normally it's $599. But you could have gotten it for $348. This would have been through VIP Outlet. This is the same place that I'd gotten my At Games Legends Ultimate from a couple years ago for about the same price. And I think I paid $299 for mine. But anyone who was able to get this at this $348, you would have had to been really quick about it. There must have only been a few of them available because within about 10 or 15 minutes, the listing was gone. So you would have had to been quick on that one. But if you're paying attention to the website or you're, subscribed to Biggie D's Arcade and you see the post, you would have seen it in time. You would have been able to get your hands on this at this price. And that was a good one. That was a good deal. Goofyfoot says, I'm just here to remind Biggie D not to take up cave diving. Yeah, want to stay away from the water. I don't want to do anything where there's like water in the cave, because then you have to worry about it flooding, and definitely don't want to be submerged like scuba diving in a cave. That's for sure. That would kind of freak me out for sure. But dry caves, I think I can handle those. So this is the X-Force haptic kit, and it was delayed until January 2026. They had made that announcement this week. January 2026, not too bad. I was expecting to get this, maybe this month, maybe next month. So for them to delay it only 1 month isn't a big deal to me. I just want them to make it right. Sounds like they're still doing some last minute changes as far as like just preparing it to be shipped. They just want to perfect it just a little bit more, it sounds like. We're going to get like a new dongle with it. They're adding the palm rest kit. It'll be included now. We don't have to pay extra for that. And then they're doing some final testing on the solenoids to make sure they don't overheat. They've been sending out demo units to creators that were interested in receiving the demo version of this haptic kit. And those have been going out. So they're figuring out last minute issues, I think, with those demo kits, and they want to perfect those things before it ships out. So January 2026, not bad. Really, really looking forward to this haptic kit. I mean, this thing is much needed in my life because, like, if you guys have been catching my pinball streams, I've got like the full pinball setup now where I can really enjoy playing it. However, I'm missing out on like the feedback and the nudging. Like I'm constantly moving that thing to try to nudge it, but it doesn't do anything. I have to find the button or I have to find the joystick to be able to nudge. I won't have to do that anymore. Also, to have the feedback, like when I hit the flipper and I can feel it in the control panel, that's going to be night and day difference. It's going to be so much better than what I've been experiencing now. So really antsy, really waiting for this haptic kit, but I also understand that I want it to be perfect and I don't want them to rush it out. So just small little delays like this, where we're just talking like, one month, not a big deal. And I thought this was reasonably priced. I think I pre-ordered this for $150. I mean, that's an extremely reasonable price for everything that I'm going to be getting with this kit. You got to think that like the SSF kit for the At Games, that thing's like $350. So I only paid $150 for this. If they need to take a little bit longer to make them, not a big deal. Steps Turbo says, if you die caving, I call dibs on Sunday at 9 p.m. LOL. All right, so there, you guys heard it. It is Steps. This is her time slot if that happens. Hopefully it doesn't. But if it were, Steps takes my time slot. Ojib says, quality and the dollar don't buy much on Dark Fridays anymore. Yeah, it feels different, right? From like 10 years ago. Back when we used to, or 20 years ago, whenever Black Friday first started, we used to stand around the building, a long line around the building, camp out, try and get in there like 6 a.m. right when the doors open to rush over to the game console or whatever's being sold at the lowest price. It's not like that anymore. Now it's like everyone has a shot at the Black Friday deal. Most of it gets done online. Very little like rush the door right when they open type deals anymore, door busters. So every year it's a little different, and it like less and less of the the draw of Black Friday. But there's still good deals to be had. That's one thing I've found this year. There's still a lot of deals to be had, especially on stuff like this year that I needed, that I had to have. I was able to save a lot of money on. Got a lot of hiking stuff that I needed for like 40 to 50% off. Step says I was trying for laughs, Biggie. And 15% off. Ojib says, yeah, now you're hoping for 15% off. Yeah, you might be talking about the X-Force haptic kit, maybe, on that. I did see that they are doing, there is a promo code. Let's see. So their promo code right now is 30% off the X-Arcade XR or TV-XR. Use code BFATV30. So this one will get you 30% off. And then that's for the X-Arcade TV to XR. You get 30% off. You can get 20% off the rest of the site. And Ojib says, no, just the GW. Oh, in the GW. No, just in general. Okay, 15% just in general. Got it. All right. So that is your haptic kit. Now talking to other news for Black Friday, the Wonderland Pinball, they had made a huge announcement that you can now buy it, and they're going to do it for $9.99, so it's still less than $1,000 with free shipping, which I think is incredible, being that you didn't have to do the Kickstarter, you didn't have to back it way back when they were collecting funds. Then you can get it now for less than $1,000 just as a buyer. And it'll ship. I think these are shipping in now through December 5th. But I don't think these are shipping yet. So let's click here. So it's still a pre-sale item. Projected ship date is January 2026. So they're saying these are going to ship next month or here in a day next month. But we still don't know for sure that that's the date. They're saying projected. So it could still be delayed even farther than that. So technically it's still a pre-order. You're still giving them money up front for a product that you don't know when it will ship, the exact date that it will ship. But they are showing photos of boxes like they're ready to go. These have Kickstarter on them, so I would assume these are the ones that are going to be sent to the Kickstarters first. And if you were to order at this $200 off, you'll probably get yours a little after them. But looking at this picture, it looks like they're ready to go. So I don't know what the holdup is now and why it's going to be January. Because looking at that photo, it looks like they're ready to be shipped right now. So the only thing I can think of is maybe there's some code things they're doing that can, because there is Wi-Fi built into this machine. So they may be doing some code improvements and finishing that out before it actually ships. So whenever you turn it on, you connect it to the internet for the first time, you're going to get that newest update rather than shipping them out this month, not with the full code ready. That's my, I would guess speculation on why they're delaying it until January. But you can buy it right now. All right, so we looked at the Iconic Arcade. There was another post on the 5 additional Capcom games. We did get a photo of what that UI is looking like with the cabinet itself. We had seen images of the UI, but not with the cabinet in the background as well. So there's a good image of that. We still don't know what the 5 games are going to be, but there'll be 20 total. We're going to talk about the Scared Stiff November Pinball Tournament here in just a little bit. What is this? What did I say results? Because, oh, okay. November Pinball Tournament poll results. I had posted the results of the poll. I had, if you guys remember, I posted a community post back like a week ago We actually got really good feedback, a lot of votes on this. We got a total of 50 votes when I checked last. And it said, what Pinball FX table should we pick for the November pinball tournament? We had 44% that went for Scared Stiff. Xena was a close second at 34%, but definitely Scared Stiff won. And that was the one we chose. So I just wanted to have full transparency on the website showing you guys the poll. If you guys want to check that out. All right, so now we're going to get into this $9.99 TMNT Pinball HDP for less than $1,000 at Sam's for Black Friday. They're also throwing in like an extra $500 in coupons from At Games. I don't know how much value there is behind, for instance, the $500 in coupons, unless you're getting like the SSF kit. Maybe you're needing like Pinball Net, things like that. Then those coupons could become, beneficial to you. Maybe a reason for using those coupons. But otherwise, it's just $9.99 for the machine. It looks like it's going to end December 1st. So that $200 off is not, going the going price for it now. Looks like it's going to go back up to $11.99 December 1st. So as of this live stream right now, if you guys want to get it for this price, you're really going to have to do it tonight, or maybe it ends at close of business tomorrow. I don't know what the actual time that cutoff is. It just says tomorrow. So if I were wanting to get this machine, I wouldn't wait any longer. I would get it tonight if you want that price. But like I told you guys earlier in the stream, I'm waiting on this. I'm not ready to run out and get this quite yet. I'm going to actually deal shop this and hopefully get one later for a lot less. There's also a couple of things too, I think, that it's not just price, right? You've got all the customer service issues with At Games, all the dissatisfaction with the level of customer service that they've been getting. It seems like they're focused on improving that with these metrics that they've been releasing every week. That makes me a little bit more confident that they're moving in the right direction. But I still haven't seen enough to make me think, okay, I got to get this pinball machine right now. Also, it does not have Zen Pinball, right? It says, and we've heard word that it is capable of playing Zen pinball tables, but we haven't actually seen any being played on the machine yet. And we don't have any official word from At Games that Zen Pinball is coming to this HD pinball machine. So there's still a lot of unknowns out there. And until I get, for sure word that I'm going to be able to play my Zen games on this, that I'm going to be able to purchase those through At Games, that I feel like their customer service is improved. Until those things, and I find that out, I'm not going to go get the machine. There's no reason for me to rush on getting one of those. I can easily play my X Arcade and get my full VPen virtual pinball experience from that right now. Don't have to have this. Mikey says, best coverage I've seen on TMNT At Games was from Papa Brad. Yes, if you guys are wanting to check out, content on this machine, like reviews, hands-on experience of what people are enjoying about this machine, go check out Papa Brad's Gaming. Also, check out Retro Tech X. He's got a demo unit of this at home as well, right next to his 4KP. And I noticed he's been doing a lot of streams, a lot of really good content as well. So really 2 channels you can kind of look for, I think, for content on this machine right now, Retro Tech X and Papa Brad's Gaming. Mikey says, personally think it's too much money for what it is, but it's a cool theme. Yeah, when I first saw it was TMNT, I was pumped. I was like, yes, they're getting a great license finally. This is going to be really cool. But then I saw like the TMNT pinball table, and it was like that Magic Pixel style. And it just didn't seem like, a really amazingly fun table to play. And there were no Zen tables included with it or even able to be played on it. So I don't see any reason to get this right now. Mikey says, what's weird is the reviews on Sam's Club are unverified and it mentions YouTubers. LOL. Let's check that out. There's only 4. Same authentic feel, easier setup, 26% better price. That sounds like an At Games employee. The reviews look good, but yeah, definitely fishy. Like, looks like those were like made by the company themselves. Devastator Omega says if it doesn't sell well, will At Games drop the price on it? I definitely think they will, or they'll leave it up to Sam's on whatever they want to sell it for. But if it's anything like the HD Legends pinball that was sold at Sam's previously, we saw those prices over time slowly continue to drop till they clearanced them out at one point, which they ended up clearancing them out for like $250. So this could very well happen again with the TMNT pinball. And I think playing the waiting game and shopping and trying to get a deal on one of these, I think you definitely can do that with this cabinet. Mikey says, I suspect they made like 3,000 units. It's up to Sam's Club, I think, to drop the price, which they always do. And Mikey also says, yeah, the magic pixel with the center post always annoys me. And Papa Brad says Sam's will discount when they want the floor space for something else. Very good points, guys. All right, so that is your TMNT pinball. I'm waiting on it. It's really cool that it's out there, that it's available. But until I see the Zen pinball games being played on it, until I see like some reason why I need to spend all this money on this machine right now, like At Games has to sell me. You know, they've got to do better than just some like customer service metrics. I got to see something much bigger from them before I'm going to go spend $1,000 on their platform and being locked into that environment. All right, so we looked at the poll, and I'd posted this on the 26th. I'd made the tournament live on the 26th, so that was on Wednesday. So you guys can, the tournament's over, I think, as of right now. Like, I think it's going to end in like 2 minutes. So if you guys haven't put in a score yet, I think it's a little bit too late, but this is what you were going to search for. This is the password. But I think the tournament officially ends at, here it is, at 6:45 Pacific time. So it's already ended. It ended like 15 minutes ago. I did check the scores right before the stream, and I do want to look at those real quick and give some recognition to the winner, or who could be the winner, because I haven't checked it again. Maybe Papa Brad, because he's in the tournament, maybe he can check these scores for us and see if anything has changed. But Ballydurn ended up winning the tournament. And forget this number right here, guys, and forget Sacro here in first. Forget all this right here, because I'm going to have to go update that now. I haven't updated it, but I did pull the scores, and I put some screenshots in here that we could review live on air. But congratulations to Ballydurn. I think you've won it. Unless someone snuck in the last hour and passed you that I'm unaware of, looks like you pulled off the victory with first place with 34 million points. So congratulations, Ballydurn. Sacro came in second with 27 million, and Amused to Death, Gregory, came in at third with 24 million. So 3 very solid scores, very competitive for those top 3. And then Papa Brad, who's in the chat, came in fourth with 18 million. Fathhog 13 with 12 million. There I'm in sixth with 11 million. I'm actually kind of impressed that I came in sixth. Normally I'm towards the bottom, so I'm middle of the pack. And then Arcade Talk came in seventh with 9 million. Stig is 6.7 million in eighth. Checkout Girl is 5.5 million in ninth. And Ojib, who's in the chat, he is 10th with 5.4 million. So very awesome. We had a good turnout. We had 10 people total, unless someone snuck in there at the very end and posted a score. And I will update. I'll make sure to update the website either tonight or tomorrow morning with the final results, and I'll post those on community post. It'll be updated here on the website. And I'll also put into the Calling All Ballers Facebook group the results of the tournament as well, so we can share that with everybody. But really happy with the tournament and how it went this month. This is actually starting to catch on. We're getting more and more people each week. And what's cool is we're doing like a lockdown tournament each month. Shouldn't have said each week, each month. We're going to do like a December tournament, probably towards around Christmas, towards the end of December. But each month I've noticed we've getting more and more people in the tournaments, and they're getting more and more competitive each month as well. And what's cool is these are locked down like with a password. So we know for a fact that they either watch the show or they're subscribed to Biggie D's Arcade. Like they're a part of this community. And we know that because it was a lockdown tournament. We still had 10 people join, and it was still extremely competitive. So awesome to do these tournaments. And I think I've got it right where we're just doing one game once a month. I think that keeps it really competitive. It also lets people know, okay, it's towards the end of the month. Biggie D's Arcade's monthly pinball tournament is going to be starting here soon. And you can kind of expect towards the end of each month that we're going to do our monthly pinball tournament. So very cool. Here in a couple of weeks, we'll do a poll for our next one for December. But I have an idea of like some tables that I want to put on the poll. One will be the Charlie Brown Christmas, of course. And then I want to get Xena in there because I felt like Xena was really competitive in the last poll. And then I'll throw in a couple other random ones in there as well. But I have a pretty good idea that Charlie Brown Christmas pinball will probably win, being that it's December. And it'll be more of a probably Christmas-themed tournament next month. But that is our monthly pinball November tournament. So congratulations to everyone who joined. Already talked about Walkabout Wednesdays. Okay, so talking Black Friday deals. Walmart did have a pretty good deal on this new Basic Fun Star Wars. You know, if you guys remember, the arcade one up Star Wars was like $600. So with this one coming in at $500, it was already, or $550, I think is what MSRP is on this. It's already less than what the arcade one up was. But then they had offered $100 off that price. So they got it down to $449, which I think is very reasonable for an arcade cabinet that's just released with a license like Star Wars. And this is just a cabinet I think a lot of people were wanting if they had missed out on the first, you know, arcade one-up version of it. I even saw posts from people that had bought the arcade one-up version, you know, Star Wars, and they liked it so much that they went out and got this Return of the Jedi to put next to it. So there are just those Star Wars fanatics and the people that just love this game. They're going to get it even if they already own it. So $449 I thought was a good price. Now, I was a little bit feeling the FOMO of maybe wanting to pick this up. I mean, it would be kind of fun to pick this up and, you know, stream like an unboxing and put it together and do some content on it and stuff and do a review video. Thought it'd be kind of fun. And I thought about it for a second, actually. It's much more easy to just do like a spur of the moment type of purchase like this. Impulse buy is what I would call it when you got a price like this. When you have the TMNT Pinball at $1,000, more than double this price, it's not so much of an impulse buy at that point, where you're in that price point with this one where it could be. And it almost was for me. You know, I thought about it. But then when I thought about it, I started thinking, you know, well, I'm going to need to get a better screen for it. I'm going to need to get a 19-inch BOE replacement screen, or if my stuff ever comes out with a 17-inch BOE replacement for it, I'd have to get that. And those replacement screens aren't cheap. You know, they're $150, $200. So they're not inexpensive. And then I would need to get a booster for it because it's definitely not tall enough. So then, you know, I'm in $600-700 for this. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? I really would want the arcade one-up Star Wars at the $599 at that point. Why am I going to pay more money for this and have to do all this extra work when I could have just had the arcade one-up for less than what it would take to buy all the stuff I needed for this one? So it just kind of makes me regret that I never picked up the arcade one-up Star Wars, you know. I've been thinking about that a lot this last few days. You know, I look behind me at the arcade one-ups that I've bought over the last several years, and I'm like, how could I have done some things differently? And there's really not anything I think I could have done too much differently, other than maybe passing on a Pac-Man that I never really needed. But outside of that, I'm happy with everything I've bought. But I do wish I would have picked up the Star Wars, you know, when I had the chance, and even had the second chance when they re-released it again, like a couple of years ago through Shop Hippo. I just wish I would have done it then. Because whoever got that, you know, arcade one-up Star Wars has a really great home arcade Star Wars cabinet. And I think this new Basic Fun, with all the issues it has, really just kind of reconfirms that the arcade one-up version was much better. Papa Bratz Gaming says, thanks for putting on the tournament. It was fun to play. Also on that note, you got to think too, Code Mystics did the work on the arcade one-up Star Wars, and they've done such a great job on some of the ports for some of these cabinets, like Killer Instinct behind me. They just do such a great job on bringing those games to these cabinets. And they were not involved in the Basic Fun, you know, development of that cabinet. So been hearing a lot of negative things as far as like comparing it to the arcade one-up. The gameplay's not even as good. The way it's emulated is not as good. Mikey Yoon says, a lot of people putting on tournaments. It's great. There's tons of pinball tournaments out there. It's not just this monthly tournament I do. I just do this monthly pinball tournament. There's other channels that are doing this every week. They're doing multiple tables, and it seems like more and more channels are doing it. And there's plenty of tournaments to get involved in. And I try to jump into at least a couple every week and get some scores in there. Brooklyn's here. Cheers, buddy. Good to see you in the chat. And always great to see Brooklyn and catch what he's streaming on his channel. I saw he picked up a lot of games for Black Friday, so can't wait to see what all we're going to be watching him play on his channel. Thumper Squid's here saying the monitor issue made Thumper pass. Yeah, that would for me too. It's kind of a bummer that we got a TN monitor again. After everything we've learned over the years, you would think Basic Fun would have passed on the TN. But they were just trying to cut cost, save money wherever they could. Papa Bratz Gaming using the emojis, the Qbert and the arcade emoji. Mikey's not too impressed with that 1983 artwork. He's saying it's just muh. Hey, Garage Gamers here. Good to see you, buddy. He's saying, what's up, guys? Always enjoy catching Garage Gamers Friday streams and his shorts throughout the week about their gaming. Noza Palooza is here saying, gotta figure out if it's the monitor or the emulation that's causing the fuzzy vector graphics on Star Wars. Yeah, that's a good point. You know, what is it? Is it the emulation that's causing it? Is it not the monitor? Like, could we put a BOE in it and it still look bad, or it still look fuzzy? So that's possible. You may have even bigger problems than you think if that's the case. You may have to do like a full mod, like where you're replacing the board with like an Android box, or, you know, the Buy Stuff box. And the board that comes with it, the way that was emulated, may not even be worth playing that way. Step says, hey, Garage Gamer. Always good to see you in the chat. Provolone Joe says, what's up, Biggie D? Good to see Provolone Joe hanging out. Garage Gamer says, hey, Steps, what's happening other than the Retro Lizard drama? Oh, man. There's always drama in there, like when I'm following Home Arcade. So I don't necessarily consider my channel or myself now as part of this larger, like, huge community on YouTube anymore. I've kind of separated myself and distanced myself from a few people that used to be pretty close with. And ever since I've done that, I'm kind of seeing this Home Arcade as a whole from a different viewpoint, from more of an outside perspective now. More kind of like you guys in the audience as just viewers, or, you know, just enjoy watching. I'm learning more about what's going on in that perspective now, because I'm not communicating directly with a lot of the larger creators in the space anymore like I used to. So I'm learning it kind of how you guys do as a viewer now. And there's always drama. Like, that's what I've noticed. Even with me out, you know, like a lot of people would say I was the problem. Well, now I'm gone and there's still tons of drama. So I think that'll always be, you know, an everlasting, always, every day, there's going to be some new story or some new person that is a topic of discussion in this, you know, drama world that goes on YouTube and home arcade. But I did catch the retro lizard stuff that's been going on, and I did want to chime in on this because I've, you know, been in contact with retro lizard. Like, I'll send them messages every once in a while. I invite them to come play mini golf with me, and I've played mini golf with them a few times. I've actually had him on a guest on my channel before. So I would say I'm, you know, friends with them, and we've gotten along, and I don't have anything against Retro Lizard at all. So I'm looking at this from a neutral perspective, seeing all the negative publicity, and then, you know, trying to get whatever side I can out of Retro Lizard. It sounds like he got really backed up on his orders, and didn't really know how to handle it, and just kind of said, screw it. And just said, if you guys want to cancel, cancel. If you get your stuff, you get it. You'll get it when you get it. You know, just kind of like an FU to all his customers is kind of what I've taken from it. Probably because he's just kind of thrown his hands up and said, I can't meet these deadlines. I can't make everyone happy. So if you guys, you know, want to basically try and get your money back and do a chargeback, do it. And I'll send out cabinets to who's left. It's kind of how it was left, or what I've heard. I would see, being a customer of Retro Lizard, I would be extremely unhappy, you know, if I had to wait this long and I was getting the runaround. Yeah, definitely. And then from Retro Lizard's point of view, maybe he got a little deep into this and he maybe took on a little more than he could handle, bit off a little more than he could chew, it sounds like. I guess those are the only things I really want to say about it, is I just have an understanding of what's going on, I think. And it's, you know, not pretty. I'll say that, especially for the people that have given him a lot of money. But this is another reason why I reiterate, don't pre-order. And I don't ever recommend people sending a bunch of money to anyone on the internet without some type of recourse or backup plan. That's why I always recommend, you know, buying through Amazon or Walmart or major retailers whenever possible, is because that gives you a lot of backing and a lot of support when you run into issues. Like with the basic fun cabinets, we were talking about, you know, the restocking fee last week, but at the end of the day, Amazon's taking care of most of those customers and getting them all their money back, even when they weren't supposed to. So I would definitely, you know, be careful. And if you guys are going to pre-order and send someone a bunch of money without knowing when you're going to get what you're paying for, then maybe you've kind of put yourself in that situation. You know, maybe you shouldn't be complaining so much about it, because you've put yourself at risk at that point. Steps Turbo says, I didn't even know there was a Retro Lizard drama. It's just about some past orders that haven't been delivered. Thumper Squid is, I don't like pinball. Sorry, not sorry on the pinball. Kevgret's here saying, imagine. Good to see Kevgret in the chat. Always look forward to when Kevgret's next video is going to drop, because he always saves the best for like a video, and especially his X Arcade content. He's always got the neatest, coolest ideas on the X Arcade, and I've tried to do most of what he shows us in those videos, because it just makes sense, and he's got great ideas. Thumper Squid says he blames it on the Cornercade. I haven't been keeping up with Cornercade. I used to try to catch everyone's stream, and lately, these last few weeks, I haven't even thought about it. Like, I saw Cornercade streamed. I didn't even think about turning it on. I'm watching a lot less home arcade content than I've ever watched these last few weeks. And mainly just picking it up mostly through like the Arcade Insiders. Like, I can get most all the information I need to like run this show and have plenty to talk about by just watching the Arcade Insiders, because that guy Neo Hyper, he's on top of stuff. Garage Gamer says, seriously, home arcade stuff is crazy sometimes. Thanks for being real, Biggie. Kevgrit says, Mike B and all the people trying to tell you about drama. Yeah, and it's funny, like, to hear about it, because, like, I have no involvement at all in that stuff now. So it's funny to hear that it still exists, even when I'm not a part of it. Provolone Joe says, I watch everyone. It's entertainment. Everyone has different personalities and approaches the issues differently. And that's, respect that. Yeah, I think everyone's got something that they do well. And if we're watching them, it's probably because they do something well that we get entertainment out of. And fully agree with that. And there's still guys, you know, that, like, I don't, you know, get along with, or I don't really speak too much anymore, like Mike B. But I'll still try and catch some of Mike B's videos, because he's very consistent. He's very, you know, puts a lot of effort into making sure those videos get out and we get the information. And whether you like him or not, he's really good at, you know, just the gift of gab and just talking and, you know, just randomly just saying stuff. He's entertaining to watch. So I'll catch a lot of his stuff. Even though I'm not in the chat, you know, I'll still watch the videos. Mikey says they mention Retro Lizard and somehow bring Kevin Rexer into it. I saw that there's some stuff going on where they're trying to loop Rexer and Kevgret into this Retro Lizard stuff. Mike B exposed himself by making that video. And I guess this is a good time where we can talk about the Arcade 1-Up getting sold to Basic Fun, even though it's like a rumor right now. We'll get into that next. Papa Brad's Gaming says the old guard and are a bunch of bullies and drama queens with very thin skin. Burnt Oranges is here saying you can't separate yourself. This is a small community. I'm still connected, but not as close, and don't watch as much as I used to. Wish I was a rock star with $1.99 saying Biggie speaks the truth. Great show, Biggie. That is awesome. Definitely going to like that. And really appreciate the $1.99 saying that I speak the truth. And I really appreciate the support. And that $2 will definitely go towards the show and making the content better. So appreciate that. Let's run a quick super chat video for Wish I Was a Rock Star. All right. Awesome to get a super chat. I need to make a bunch more super chat videos. That's one day I'm just going to sit down and make a bunch of them. Even though we don't do a ton of super chat videos here, maybe if I have them prepared and I have them on tap, we'll be showing more of them. Papa Brad's Gaming says, just go to the source, the Arcade Insiders. Hey, B Kirby's here saying, what's up, everybody? Doing the, here, let's see if I can do it right. The Hang 10. Good to see you, buddy. Congrats, Biggie. You made the cut. All right, so let's look here. I did not post about this news story because I wanted to kind of be careful about what I say. And I didn't really want to put anything like on my website or in a community post about this because I think you really have to be careful. You have to tread lightly when you're talking about stuff like this because there's a lot of money at stake and there's companies that are probably pretty protective of stuff right now, especially on this subject with ongoing negotiations going on. So I'll just tell you what I know and also keep in mind that this is all speculation, that there is no like confirmation from these companies or any press or any, you know, thing like that that we can base this off of. But there was a rumor going around. You may have caught it. Mike of all trades, Moat. He's been a guest on this channel before. I would consider him a friend. I could probably message him right now and he'd probably message me back and we'd have a quick conversation, you know. So, but what I know, I haven't gained from him directly, just from his video. So it's everything I'm discussing is like public information. So he made a video basically saying that Arcade 1-Up is getting sold, that they are going to be sold to Basic Fun, believe it or not. So if you guys remember over the last like 2 or 3 months, I've been talking about how there's some involvement, right? Arcade 1-Up in some way is helping or allowing Basic Fun to make these cabinets. It just wasn't a coincidence that they look so close in the way that they were made, that they look like they came from the same factory, that some of the same licenses are being used that Arcade 1-Up used to own. It just all did not make sense to me why these cabinets are so close and they look like Arcade 1-Up made them, but they didn't. You know, it just did not make sense to me. So I thought maybe that they were working in collaboration, that Arcade 1-Up was selling these licenses to Basic Fun. This is what I thought was going on. And Arcade 1-Up was somehow assisting or collaborating with Basic Fun to make those cabinets, helping them get off their feet essentially to get them making those cabinets for whatever reason. But I didn't understand why. Like, why would they do this? It did not make any sense to me. And then I kind of gave up on that theory and that idea, even though it was a gut feeling and I thought I was going with what I thought was happening. And I was on the right track, but there was just so much out there where people were just saying I was flat out wrong, that I was spreading false information, that that was not indeed at all what was happening at all, that it was actually proven false. So I kind of gave up on that idea and I quit talking about it, even though that's how I felt. Well, then come to find out, Moat says that their Basic Fun is buying Arcade 1-Up, that they're going to flat out buy the company and pay for it and take ownership of Arcade 1-Up. And now it kind of makes sense, right? Like that maybe this has been in the works for a while now, and maybe this has been the plan the whole time, was for Arcade 1 to eventually sell all the rights to these licenses, all the development, all the time and effort and like their infrastructure, and sell that all to Basic Fun and just be done with the home arcade line of products and just give it over to Basic Fun and make some money in the process. And the people that helped make Arcade 1-Up what it was can cash out and be happy and retire and be done with it, right? So this all looked legitimate. Like even though we don't know for sure, this is still speculation, still rumor, it all sounds like it all falls into place and it all makes sense of what we've been seeing over these last few months. So I would say it's probably very likely that this is actually happening. I don't think that Moat would have made that video if it weren't happening. I don't think he would have put himself out there like that if it weren't for real. And we just now are waiting to get more information. And until we do, all we can say is what we think is happening. And that's, I think Moat is right. I think this is probably, you know, why we've seen what we've been seeing and why the products are so closely related and how they're so similar, is that the whole plan all along was to sell all this to Basic Fun once they got it going. Provolone Joe says, you make good content. That's why I watch, period. That's a good reason to have viewers right there, is that you make good content and they enjoy it. You know, they're not here to cause trouble. They're not here to, you know, make clips of you or to cause issues in the chat. You have viewers that are just here because they enjoy what you're doing and they think it's quality and it's worth watching. So I appreciate that. And, you know, it really kind of just makes me confident in what I'm doing and that I'm doing a good job when I hear stuff like that. And I also really appreciate the $1.99. That's awesome, Provolone Joe. So 2 super chats back to back tonight for $1.99. Definitely need to get those super chat videos back up because we've got 2 back to back now. But I'll run that same video again. Thank you, Provolone Joe. So that's big news. I think this is like really going to drastically change like the home arcade landscape if this was to actually follow through and happen. Because what could that mean for Basic Fun? I think this can mean a lot of things. For one, they're going to get all those licenses. So if you're a fan of like Mortal Kombat or the Midway games or the Pac-Man games they've been putting out, it seems like they still have Marvel versus Capcom. You know, those games can now be made by Basic Fun. Also, there shouldn't be any limitations as far as like their design or their molds or like the way the cabinet will look, right? Because Arcade 1-Up doesn't exist anymore and they bought them. So they should have the rights to all of that. So rather than having those cam locks like we've been getting on the 3 first cabinets they made, maybe they'll just revert back to like the Arcade 1-Up cabinet with those like, what do we call those things? Dials or something? The locks? I forgot what those are called. They're not cam locks though. They're a little different. And I like them a little bit better too. And it seems like people have been having difficulty with the cam lock system that Basic Fun went with. So maybe they'll go with this design once the company sells. They'll also get the licenses. They'll also get hopefully all like the private, like confidential, like metrics and statistics and all of that data that they've collected over the last like 5 or 6 years, all that proprietary data that they've collected through all the ups and downs of Arcade 1-Up. You know, Basic Fun should get access to all that, and they should be able to go through and decipher what Arcade 1-Up did right, what they did wrong over the half a decade or so they were in business, and be able to learn from that and carry what they did well on and leave behind what they did wrong, right? Also, and I think this is probably the most important aspect of Arcade 1-Up getting sold to Basic Fun, as far as us from a consumer's perspective, is Basic Fun doesn't have an online platform, right? They can do updates, but they don't have like an online infrastructure for leaderboards and online play and all that. Some people will probably argue that the Arcade 1-Up platform has never really been that great for online play or leaderboards, but I've certainly enjoyed it. Like the Marvel versus Capcom 2, I can at any point jump online, probably find a game and have a good time. Same with the Killer Instinct. I could do that as well. So that's nice. And then to have the online leaderboards is really nice, just to be connected with everyone else. They've also got the mobile app. They never truly developed that mobile app into something that we really used, but maybe Basic Fun could. So all that infrastructure, all that platform that Arcade 1-Up has developed should then move over to Basic Fun for them to use in their future cabinets. So like if they were to make a Tekken cabinet early next year, or they were to make a Robotron, you know, those are like 2 of the highest that I've heard that could be most likely for early next year from Basic Fun. They could make those with online, with leaderboards, with online updates, and use all the technology, all the development that Arcade 1-Up did in their future cabinets. So there's a lot of good things that are going to happen if this really does follow through and it actually were to happen, you know, and they were to sell the company. It'd be good for us because Arcade 1-Up isn't moving in the direction that we've wanted to see them, even though they may have been profitable over the last year or so. They haven't been making anything we've really wanted with that. That should all change when Basic Fun takes over control, because they're going to make all the cabinets that we want. And if you've been catching like the Arcade Insiders, a lot of what they've been discussing and kind of getting feedback on is, you know, what future cabinets do they want to make and which ones do our customers want to see. Cubert's been one that's been highly talked about as well. So like, you know, early next year, let's say this next month in December, Arcade 1-Up officially sells to Basic Fun. We could see in like February, March, you know, awesome cabinets like that, like a Tekken cabinet or a Kubert cabinet potentially, you know, could happen realistically. Steps Turbo says Arcade 1-Up didn't pay the previous license and owed them money. So they may be taking on some baggage as well with that purchase, maybe. Step says there isn't anything to buy other than the cabinet designs. Licenses are not transferable, but Cyrus is at Basic Fun. And that was another interesting tidbit too, is the fact that Cyrus moved to this company right before all this news broke. Kevgret says, what does Basic Fun think they can do better than 1-Up? They have everything repeated like 20 mistakes 1-Up has. You're right. They have not had a good start, have they? They've made some really bad mistakes. It seems like they're trying to fix them, you know, like with updates on the WrestleFest. But then they follow it up with the Star Wars, just terrible decisions like on the screen and on the emulation. It seems like they're trying to get money as quick as they can rather than trying to make a great product. Mikey says, Biggie D, it will be the home arcade product of 2026. Just kidding, he says. Provolone Joe says, I always thought they were working together. We are just waiting for the press release now. Yeah, I think it's coming soon. It's not set in stone yet, but it's sounding like it's going to happen. Steps Turbo says, I don't think it's significant news. I think Arcade 1-Up may have sold them aspects, but the whole buying an indie company is dumb, especially with no licenses that are transferable. Garage Gamer says RGT85 doesn't like cam locks either. Yeah, I caught his video. He was not a fan of those. Provolone Joe says the name of Arcade 1-Up is the reason enough to buy them. It's the Kleenex of home arcade. It is such a catchy name, and Basic Fun just doesn't do it for me in the same way. So hopefully if they buy it, they change it from the Basic Fun Arcade Classics to just Arcade 1-Up. The Basic Fun Arcade 1-Up line. Burnt Oranges. Another valid reason for merger is to eliminate the competitor. Burnt Oranges also says true, but maybe the masses don't know any better and they want their trash in Walmart instead of Arcade 1-Up peasants cabs. Anyone that can get this stuff into Walmart is going to win. They're going to make some money because, you know, that's the best place to put it. You know, people walking into the store, they're going to probably take it home in some type of impulse buy, like with those peasant cabs. If Basic Fun can make something that'll fit in the store like that at that price point, those will sell also. Papa Brad's Gaming says, I can play it with an arcade joystick easily in my X-Arcade with the Octopus joystick. Yeah, I've caught those videos of your Octopus joystick. It looks really cool. Looks like an amazing fight stick. And then, of course, the X-Arcade has those quality arcade controls. And that's one thing that I've been missing out on is I've been using my X-Arcade mostly for the pinball, but I haven't been playing many fighting games or things like that on the setup I've got. And that's because now I've got like a camera above it. I've got the DMD above the main playfield screen. So in order to twist the screen to make it horizontal to play the arcade games, I have to like take everything down, and I've got it all set up for streaming now. So what I've been doing is instead of using my PC for like a lot of those games, thinking like need to maybe get a second X-Arcade. Like maybe that's in my future, getting a second one, because like it'd be nice to have an X-Arcade for like a horizontal setup for your arcade gaming, and then have an X-Arcade with your vertical screen for your pinball, and not have to take everything down or move it or, you know, make adjustments. Just have, you know, a setup for each way I want to play, like a dedicated setup. Maybe, so I might have two X-Arcades at some point. Burnt Oranges says, what did Mike say about Step? Step Show is what got me joining YouTube chats and being more engaged. Step says Basic Fun can sell more Star Wars cabs at $449, and you can't get that price point if you made in the same quality as an Arcade 1-Up Star Wars. Papa Brad's saying he likes the pinball setup. I do. I enjoy it. And it's great for streaming because I just leave it all set up now. And even when I'm not streaming, I'll just play the game through the capture cards so I can leave it all set up. So now I can just jump into pinball streaming at any point. And I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys are too. It seems like we're getting, close to 100 or more people watching those. And it's fun just to hang out with the community and game out. And I've been enjoying the pinball. Now, let's talk some pinball. Zen Pinball. There was the Pinball Bites. This dropped Thursday. Dropped on Thanksgiving Day, actually, this video. But it was big. They had made some pretty major announcements. They're going to be filling out the VR library quite a bit with the Charlie Brown Christmas table, the Charlie Brown table, as well as Godzilla versus Kong, and Kong. So that pack. And then we're also, for the other ones is Monsters. We're going to get that one, and we're going to get Creature from the Black Lagoon. So awesome tables. Like, I'm really interested to see, for instance, like the Godzilla versus Kong, because Godzilla versus Kong is in the Godzilla game, they're very visually impressive, right? Like if I play it on my PC or I play it on my PS5, those tables look very impressive. Like they are, the colors, the sounds, everything is like watching like a Godzilla movie. So seeing that one is going to be coming to VR, I think is very interesting, because what can they do in VR with a table like that? So I'm interested to see how that will translate. I also think the Charlie Brown was a great pick too for this time of year, because we're going to be able to play the Charlie Brown Christmas Pinball just in time for Christmas this year in VR. So I think that was a really great pick as well. Really looking forward to anything Charlie Brown in VR. I think that was pretty cool. So we're just looking at the Pinball Bites video right now. Let's move on here to the Godzilla. I don't know in the video if we're going to be able to tell how great or how well this is going to look and sound in VR from this video. It's not a like ultra quality clear video, so I don't know if it does it justice. But I'm just hoping like that Mecha Godzilla just sounds really cool, and like when he's got the fire breath coming out his mouth, it just looks really cool in VR. I think they can, like, just as much as the gameplay, and I've heard this from big time pinball creators and influencers, is what's just as important as the gameplay is the sounds and the call outs and all that. That's what gets you into the pinball even more so than the actual gameplay. And I think like a Godzilla versus Kong or a Godzilla pinball table can really benefit a lot from like the sounds and the call outs and things like that. So interested to see I think, what those games are going to look like. And then the final two, I think, are the real winners. Like these are just super solid picks that I think anyone and everyone's just going to really cherish and love, which is going to be the Universal Monsters and the Creature from the Black Lagoon. If I had to think of like my top 3 Zen Studios pinball tables, I think you've got to put the Creature from the Black Lagoon in your top 3. I think everyone has to have that one in your top 3. And I think for like an actual real pinball table to play, I think Creature from the Black Lagoon has to be in your top 3. It's just that good. So I think it's a real treat that we're getting it in VR. This really should have been one of the first tables to release. So the fact that we've had to wait, 6 months is a long time for these tables. Because these are like the Monsters, Monster Bash is, like some people have said, is the best Zen Studios pinball table they've ever made. So really going to be a great month of VR pinball with these announcements. There were a couple of other just kind of like follow-ups here. There was like a Williams Collection 3 that's coming out and a Zen Originals Collection 3. These are going to be physical releases that you're going to be able to get like with the cart and with a booklet and a case of physical releases. So if you're not into buying digital, like a lot of Zen Pinball set up to be bought digitally, you can actually buy physical copies of these games coming up here through limited run. So that was pretty cool too. But I think the bulk and like probably the biggest part of this Pinball Bites was those VR announcements. Those are what I think everyone's really amped about, because VR pinball is a lot of fun. I'm not on the boat like everyone else is where VR pinball is the best way to play. I do look at it as a way to play, and it is one that I really enjoy. Like a way to play pinball virtually is in VR. I do enjoy it that way for like an hour or two a day at the most, right? Like I may go pick up in my living room tonight my VR headset and I may play FX VR pinball for like an hour, but I could play it on the flat screen for like 4 or 5 hours straight and not even think about it. So I'm not in the same boat as everyone else that it's got to be on VR, but I am happy that they're expanding the library and they're giving me the option. So like if I wanted to play Creature from the Black Lagoon on the flat screen, or if I wanted to play it in VR, I would have that option. And I would definitely enjoy being able to, when I feel like it, playing it in VR now. So I thought these were really big announcements. They had led the Pinball Bites with VR update announcement. Like that was what they were advertising. And my speculation ahead of the stream was, will they bring Pinball FX VR to PSVR 2? That's something I wanted to see. And then also that would open the door for that new Steam VR headset that's coming out early next year to also get an FX VR release as well. That was not the news this week. So still no PSVR 2. And no word if it'll come to the Steam VR headset next year. But I think that they need to do that. I think they need to bring it to the PSVR 2. Reason being is the graphics are much better on the PlayStation VR headset than they are on the MetaQuest headset. So just imagine playing virtual pinball on the PlayStation headset, just how much better it could look, how much better it could sound and play, you know, with the power of the PlayStation. Now that also would then, you know, if you're an X Arcade user, would you be able to play PSVR 2 on your X Arcade? Probably not without an adapter. So that would also mean that X Arcade would need to make a PlayStation VR 2 adapter as well that would function with the cabinet. But I think that's coming in the future. It's just when and how long are we going to have to wait? But they eventually are going to have to bring it to the other VR headsets too. Step says Basic Fun would rather sell to the masses than some small niche community. Dueling X Arcades. Mikey Yoon says, by the way, Biggie, Stern sells their pinballs via Amazon now. That is awesome to see. More, you know, like real Stern pinballs in like retail, I think is great for us. Like we saw that Star Wars home edition at Costco this year. That really allows us to maybe get those at a lot lower cost when they're in retail. You know, with clearances and sales that they run. Mikey says they even have premium editions now. That's really cool to see. Great to see them on Amazon. Provolone Joe says the community needs more gameplay streams. PD7 does them pretty consistently every week. I don't know anyone more consistent or more dedicated to their craft than PD7. I mean, that guy is a freaking machine. I wake up every morning and I see a video from that guy, and he's been in some store walking around every single day of his life. It's like that guy, he deserves all the success, man. Like if he becomes one of the biggest YouTubers on YouTube, he deserves it. Steps Turbo says, I think peasants. I think the Peanuts is now under license to Apple TV for the series. So yeah, gonna get hit if they think you airing that. Peanuts is now under Apple TV now. Wow. Mikey says Biggie D just did a pinball gameplay stream yesterday. Go check out those. I'm going to be doing those more regularly now that I have the setup. But I also don't want to neglect the arcades. I used to do some arcade streams. I'd like to get back into doing that as well because I have a good time with the arcades too. Like, it was about a week or two ago. Papa Brad was doing a tournament and he had R-Type in there. And I had a great time jumping on this arcade again and playing R-Type again after like a year of not playing it. Arcades bring me just as much fun as the pinball does, and sometimes I forget that. Mikey says, but obviously Monster Bash and Creature of the Black Lagoon is what I'm looking forward to. Yeah, that Creature is by far the one that I'm most pumped for, but I'm also very interested in like the Godzilla, what that's going to look and play like too. But I'll probably end up picking them all up because I get all the VR tables. And Garage Gamer says, I just wish they weren't through limited run. I know, right? That's the bummer. I wish they would just make these physical releases themselves and release them on their own. Because limited run, you got to wait forever. You got to pre-order. You know, very long wait on those sometimes. Provolone Joe says, I don't have a 4K yet, and I can't do VR because of the motion sickness, sadly. VR for pinball, you're not moving around. I don't know if you've tried VR pinball yet, but you're stationary. You don't have to walk around or move at all. So maybe you can handle that, possibly. Mikey says, thanks to Kev, I didn't know how I could set up the X Arcade to play a screen with DMD. Yeah, that's how I learned how to do it, was through KevGrit, and now the rest is history. I'm loving my setup now. Devastator Omega says, if I buy another VR headset, I'll likely get the Steam version. Not sure how much horsepower that thing is going to have, but I can play my Steam library. Yeah, I'm interested to see. I don't think it'll be like much more high end than what we've seen through the MetaQuest or the PSVR 2. But like you said, it's going to open up that library to a bunch more games. And I think more competition just really helps the movement of like VR and getting into VR gaming. The more competition, the more companies that are into this, making products, making games for it, will be better, making it more mainstream. All right, so that, I think, on the news front is about it. The only other thing that I can think of is we're going to look at a couple of things here on games, because I've been buying a lot of games this last week. All my carts are upstairs. I should have had them all stacked here so I could have showed them all to you. Because the cool thing about buying physical games is you get the case, you get the booklet, you get to share that with everyone. But yeah, I bought a bunch of physical games for Black Friday this year. So I told you I bought a bunch of stuff that I needed, but the video games and like gaming stuff I bought was all like $10 and $15 video games. I bought the TMNT for Nintendo Switch for $10. I bought the Prince of Persia for $10. And then actual Black Friday, which was Thursday and Friday, those days, I bought a bunch of stuff online. This was my first purchase. I got it from Walmart, delivered for free, 3 games, all $15 a piece. So my total was $45 plus tax. And literally the person drives up to my door on Black Friday and delivers them to me from the store for no money extra. So I was really happy with that. So on Friday, I started playing the Sonic Generations on my Switch Lite, my yellow Switch Lite, and I was just freaking blown away by this Sonic Generations game for a number of reasons. One, I've been playing the Sonic Generations game on my PC for like 10 years, and it's my favorite modern Sonic game that I've played. I really tend to lean more towards the classic Sonic games. I don't like the modern Sonic games really, but this Sonic Generations I really love, and I fell in love with it on my computer like long time ago when the game came out. And then this Sonic X Shadow Generations, I thought this was an entirely new game, like a new Generations. It's actually just a remaster of the original Generations I already have. So I was actually very happy about that because I love this game. And it has some Shadow like DLC in it. But outside of that, it's just like a remastered version of the game I've already really been enjoying. So loved to find that out when I started playing it. And then it looks and plays so well on the Switch Lite. Like the colors are so vibrant. The pace of the game is so fun. And then like it makes me think like when I'm playing it, like what if Sega had just kept making consoles, and what if they had like a modern Game Gear today? This is what it would look and play like. You would have this Sonic Generations game on a Game Gear, and this is probably what it would look and play like today if that were to continue happening and they were still pumping out consoles today. And even though I'm playing it on a Nintendo, you know, I'm feeling the vibe of like, what if this was a Game Gear that I was playing it on, like a modern version of it. And it was really fun. So even like the hour of time I've gotten in this weekend on that game, I've already got my money's worth out of it. And it'll be a game I can continue to go back to. Now the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection I've already got on Steam, but I wanted to pick it up on Switch because like if I'm on the go, like if I'm traveling or whatever, I can pop that in there and play, you know, MVC at any point on the go. So for $15, you got to do that. Plus, I didn't have a physical copy of the game. Now I've got a physical copy. And it even came with like a little comic book in there too, which was cool. Now, Mortal Kombat 1, passed on it all these years. The last 2 years this game's been out. Finally got a chance to play it. And I've actually really been enjoying it. I've been playing it on the TV, on docked. And even though the graphics are trash, like it looks terrible on the Switch, the story and the campaign is really fun to play through. I'm probably 3 or 4 hours in. I'm going to try and beat it as soon as I can. And then I may pick up the DLC campaign for it as well. I saw it was only $10 right now. So I may pick that up once I beat it. But I'm actually enjoying the Mortal Kombat 1 story. I could see where people weren't really happy with this one. They went way off, right? They didn't seem to do like the typical Mortal Kombat stuff. They're doing a bunch of new characters and new storylines and stuff. And the combat's not as great, I think, as Mortal Kombat 11 was. I don't think they did enough to really make it any better either. But it's a fun title, and for $15, you can't complain. And I'm enjoying the campaign enough where I saw it's only $10 on the PlayStation Store right now. I may pick it up on PlayStation as well. So let me... Mortal Kombat 1, PlayStation Store. I think it's $9.99 right now. Yeah, so $9.99 on the store, normally $50. So I'll probably pick it up on PlayStation as well and play the campaign on there as well, just so I can see the difference in graphics. Because the graphics are terrible on the Switch, especially for this game, because they really pushed to try to get it on the Switch when it really was never meant for that system. So I'll probably pick it up digitally for $10 on PS5 and play it through again that way, just so I can see what it was meant to look like. But actually a fun game, and you can't complain for 10 or $15, can you? So that's one good thing about picking these games up for so cheap, is that a game that people would be pretty critical of and pretty nitpicky of at $60 or $70, you really can't complain at $10 or $15. You really just enjoy the game for what it is at that price point. And there's a bunch of others. Like I'd put on the thumbnail of other games that you can get right now for like $10 or $15. Lots of good game deals out there right now. Like I'd put on the thumbnail, there you can get the Elden Ring for $15. You can get Street Fighter 6 for $15. I actually picked up Street Fighter 6 for the PlayStation 5. I already have it for Steam. I can already play it on my computer for Steam. But I went ahead and picked it up here at Walmart for $15 as well. Just to give me another platform to play it on. And at that price point, you just can't beat that. So tons of great deals out there right now to be had on games that have been out for a couple of years, but you may have never picked them up and you wanted to play them, and now you can. So Cyber Monday tomorrow will be probably more of this stuff, more games at these price points, I imagine. PlayStation 5, I'm going to be looking for games at this price point. But I've stacked up like I got 6 Nintendo Switch games for $80 this weekend. So all physical copies with carts and booklets and all that. So really good deals. And I've been having a really good time the last couple of days just playing my console games. Just gaming out here in the apartment. Garage Gamer says, tomorrow, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, baby. I am picking this game up. I know it's like $40, but I'm picking this game up day one. And I'm going to play it on my At Games Legends Ultimate via OTG. Hollywood Polo's here saying, Biggie D, will you be getting the Marvel Cosmic Invasion on Steam Monday to play some online co-op with us? I will be getting this game. I am pumped for Cosmic Invasion, guys. I think I'm just going to get the, well, you got to get digital. I don't think the physical's coming out this next week, is it? Let's see. So let's look here. So PS5 is $60, Switch 2 is $70. But then like GameStop has, okay, so this is the deluxe edition for $60. For $40, I can get the regular. I'll probably just get the regular edition. But then I noticed here, $30 for a Nintendo Switch 2 digital version. So I don't know what the prices are going to be. I guess $30 for the digital. I guess it'll be $30 for the digital and $40 for the physical. And then $50 for the Switch 2, it looks like. But this is a must pick up, guys. This is going to be just like your X-Men beat 'em up game, or your TMNT beat 'em up game, Marvel themed, of course, but modern. You know, just like Shredder's Revenge did that, like TMNT classic arcade, like really did it justice and made like a really great recreation, modern recreation of TMNT. Imagine classic X-Men beat 'em up, but a modern recreation of that. And that's what we're going to be seeing with this Cosmic Invasion game. So that's going to really be right up like Home Arcade's alley. And I can't wait to see everyone's enjoyment and what they think of this new beat 'em up. Provolone Joe says, I haven't tried it, but I get motion sickness from watching too many PD7 walk and talks in a row. Oh, man. All right. Got a lot of chats here. Probably can't catch up on everybody's here, but I'm really happy everyone's chiming in and, you know, just discussing everything with the community here in the chat tonight. Step says, I got the WWE 2K25 for $15 on Switch 2. Great. I've been seeing a lot of Switch 2 deals this weekend, probably because the Switch 2 didn't sell probably as well as they thought it was. And they made a ton of games for it. So I've been seeing like WWE. I saw the Sonic Generations talking about that. They have it for the Switch 2 as well. I put the Pac-Man 2 game that's on Switch 2. I saw that's for like $15. So you guys can pick up some deals right now. Mikey Yoon says, other than old games and TVs, I hadn't seen many deals for Black Friday. I didn't expect Cyber Monday to be any better, but we'll see. I expect, okay, so Cyber Monday predictions. What I expect are a lot of things we haven't seen deals on for Black Friday. We'll see deals on for Cyber Monday. So like for me, I was picking up a ton of games over the last week for Nintendo Switch for like $10 or $15. Those games will probably go back up. And then games we haven't seen a deal on yet, we'll probably finally see some savings on for Cyber Monday. So definitely keep your computer up, ready to go on work. Of course, we got to start work tomorrow. Back to work after 4 days off, which sucks. But I'm definitely going to have my computer up while I'm working, multitasking, keeping track of like slick deals and Cyber Monday stuff. Is there anything that I have to get? And things that I'm really like focused on this year is just super cheap games that I can get, right now. I just want to make a huge library of games just like on $100. That's what I did this week. I got like a stack of like 10 games for like $100. Can't beat that. And this is the time of year to be able to do that. Hollywood Polo says only $30 digital on Steam. So yeah, that'll be tricky. Do you get the physical at $10 more now? Are you going to pay extra for the physical? Kevgrit says you just bought all those games, and are you going to buy $40 Cosmic Invasion tomorrow? Why? Play the games you bought, and by the time you're done, Cosmic will be on sale. I think the answer to that question, Kev, is I want to support the developer. Like, this is a special game that we don't see come around very often. And just like TMNT Shredder's Revenge, which I still play today, all these years later, it's still a great game to me. It's just as enjoyable as the day it came out. And it also fits like home arcade and what I enjoy. And it kind of meshes and brings together the home arcade gaming and the console gaming into one. And there's only very few select releases that can do that can really combine the two into like a modern arcade release. And this is one of those. And these don't come around that often. So I want to support the developer, and I also want to encourage the developer to make more games like this. And the only way you can do that is by buying them day one and supporting them that way. Kevgrit says, you still haven't beaten Behemoth, Biggie. Stop hoarding games. I know, I still haven't beaten Behemoth, but I've been playing it. Been playing it lately for the last week or two. So I'll probably beat it eventually. But at least I'm plugging away at it now. Papa Brad's Gaming says, how many games do you need? Just as many as I can get at a good deal. All right. Amazon just slapped Cyber Monday sale on the old Black Friday prices. Wake up, people. All right, guys. Well, have a great rest of your Sunday evening. Also, have a really great start to your week. I know it's a bummer after having a long weekend to have to go back to work, but at least we only got like 3 weeks till Christmas now, so we can just, focus on these next few weeks, and then we'll get a long break again for Christmas. But we got a lot of stuff coming up here on the channel over the next few weeks. I do want to, what I typically do around every Christmas is I do a giveaway. So I will be giving some stuff away for sure. I haven't selected yet what I'm going to do and buy to give away yet, but I will be announcing that here soon. But you guys have a good one. Thanks for tuning in tonight, hanging out with me, being part of the stream and being in the chat. If you guys are rewatching the stream this week and you're catching the replay, make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, let me know, what can I do better? What did you enjoy? And we'll see everyone this upcoming week for some pinball and some news next Sunday. So I'll see everyone soon. Y'all have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.